smarter, Americans?
Definitely not. No.
So some of you might have seen this video. It's been removed from TikTok, but I actually saw it on Twitter. And as infuriated as this video made me, I'm actually glad because it helps me touch on a lot of points that I constantly try to make on this app, especially to freaking Europeans.
Said black people down there don't even know what country they come from.
So
First of all, the anti-black sentiment reeks in this video. No one even brought up black people, and you had to come and attack black Americans. Disgusting, disgusting, disgusting.
where are you born?
Here.
So if your kids are born here, where they from?
Well,
Huh?
from London, but ethnic.
Hold on, ethnically don't matter. After four,
He does. That's
So how come whenever a white American talks about their ethnicity and they say, oh, I'm Italian, or oh, I'm Swedish, or oh, I'm Irish, all the Europeans come and say, no, you're American, you're not Irish, you're not Italian, you're like fifth generation, you don't even speak Italian. So how come that is the reaction that Europeans have when a white person in the United States tries to claim any, European ancestry?
my mom was born in America.
well, she should at least know.
My grandmother was born in America.
She should at least know.
How? Slavery was a crazy thing. Do you
But when a black person says, oh, I was born in the US and my parents were born in the US and my grandparents were born in the US and my great-grandparents were born in the US, you guys come out and say, no, but you should know your ethnicity. You don't even know what country you come from. First of all, have you never heard of slavery? A lot of these people cannot trace their ancestry, okay? And it's because they were enslaved. Like, how is that their fault? How is it their fault for not having access to their exact lineage? It's literally not. It's the fault of the people who enslaved them for no reason but racism, okay?
country you come from?
Me, a few. I'm African and Caribbean.
Not to mention that they said that Americans are stupid, but then when the guy asked her what countries you're from, she says Africa and the Caribbean. I have personally never heard of those countries, but I'm just a stupid American who doesn't know geography, so maybe you guys could enlighten me.
You made this video. Like, it literally brought like a huge big smile on my face to see a completely different person with a different face, different color than me to express these particular points. Because I've been silenced, literally. They hit me with two strikes in the same day. And the video wasn't even supposed to go like that. I didn't expect it to turn out that particular way. These strikes got hit for hateful speech. How can the culture be hateful against each other? It just was an educational, informative situation. And I think that the true culprit behind this is TikTok, not understanding how different cultures behave in different cultures. And although I'm new to your content, I believe your name is Nas. I am so proud of you to actually sit there and express these particular points. Because it seems to this day, I am still limited by the color of my, and you just bring awareness to a situation I literally got faced in Europe, in London. Now I have no voice, and frankly, I just feel violated. You're my hero.
Just like to say I agree with everything she said in that video. And I just felt like I had to put my 2 cents out there because honestly, I was really getting agitated when I was watching the clips from the other video. First of all, he said Americans, right? Are we smart or something? No, I'm not gonna lie. We're not the smartest ones out there. Okay, we're not. But it's when that girl responded with black Americans. It's like, who brought us up? Nobody asked you about black Americans. They said Americans. And then it's like, y'all be annoyed, not annoyed, but y'all be getting on us and be like, how do you not know what country you're from? Slavery. Slavery. They literally took our last names. Literally not allowed to speak our native languages. Families were separated. How the fuck were we supposed to know what country we came from? I need to be like, I'm so serious. Y'all make me sick.
I'm not talking about the creator of this video, but I'm using it to stitch the video because the video isn't up anymore with the girls from London or whatever. It's so crazy that this man asked, who do you think is most intelligent? They said definitely not Americans, but don't know the difference between race, ethnicity, and nationality. I know for other countries, it comes off that Americans are the center of the universe, but that can only happen if people allow it to happen. If people are watching us, if people are making America the center of attention, because we can just be narcissists that sit in a corner that talk about ourselves all day and no one cares. But we have videos like this and many others. This country is by far, it's very far from being the best country on this planet. But there is no denying some of the things and some of the perks that come with living in America. But for some weird reason, people see videos online and assume that all Americans act like this. And I want to touch on the the anti-blackness in this video as well, but it's just so exhausting at this point that we still got to sit here and listen to people who are melanated, who are sitting up here saying that, oh, you don't know where your parents are from. Like, this planet is getting ready to explode from climate change, and you're worried about a group of people who don't know their lineage, considering they were stolen from a continent and then had their entire lineage erased and couldn't even write it down, couldn't create a family tree or anything of the sort. I just feel so sad when I see videos like this, and people don't understand the context of being black in America from the outside world, because the rest of the world, for whatever reason, likes to act like racism doesn't exist where they are, or they like to say Americans make a big deal about race. But like I said again, don't get me wrong, this country is filled with airheads. It's filled with stupidity and people that do dumb shit. But at least if you're gonna shit on us about being stupid, at least, come correct yourself, because she couldn't even answer some of the other follow-up questions because she didn't know the answer to them as well. The pot can't call a kettle black if the damn pot black too.
I think people are really missing the whole entire point of this conversation. And it really just goes back to that y'all watch TV too much, because for you to probably never been to America in your entire life, but yet have so much knowledge because of what you were taught about Black Americans, makes you actually more ignorant because you believe your ignorance. So maybe you should actually go to the country that you're talking about and its people and experience life outside of your bubble. You wouldn't be getting laughed at on TikTok. I don't know. That sounds like dishonor on your family, and more importantly, dishonor on your country. God bless America.
Last time I checked, America is a continent, not a country, so technically America's Independence Day is never. But if you're asking about your country, which, by the way, it's called the United States of America, then it's the 4th of July. How do we know that? Because you made it your entire personality.
All right. I ain't gonna argue or hold you. That video, to me, if you watch the whole thing, it is the embodiment of don't come for me unless I send for you. Because baby girl put out that whole little statement and then suddenly was made to look foolish with every single subsequent thing that she said. She talking about, I'm from Africa and the Caribbean, but accused Black Americans of not knowing the specific country, but didn't name a specific country. Like, babe, the call's coming from inside the house in terms of the not knowing where you come from. And I just need for all of our friends across the diaspora, like, babe, this is not a competition. Like, we can coexist. We can be together. We don't need your critiques on what we got going over here. Like, enjoy your tea and leave us.
Okay, so watch her video because I agree with every point that she made. I also would like to point out that the darker skinned girl in that video proceeds to say Africa and the Caribbean. Okay, and yet somehow she thinks that's different than Black folks in America not knowing which country they originally came from. She says the Caribbean, as if there wasn't the transatlantic slave trade all throughout those nations, and as if Black people are native to Caribbean nations. They are not. They got there through slavery too, and they can't trace their ancestors back any further than we can. But she said that with her whole chest, confidently, loudly, and boldly, wrong as hell. Because she lives in a nation that pretends that they freed the slaves in 1806 or whatever date it was, and that they weren't the ones who instituted the slave trade in the first place and didn't profit off of it, and then were able to cut themselves off from it because they lost the country, the area that was largely dependent on slavery. Also, they only stopped the slave trade. Caribbean nations and other Commonwealth nations did not actually free slaves until much, much later. But, this is all part of England's rebranding, where they act like they were not the nation that colonized or invaded something like 80% of the earth. If you look back through history, there may be, I think, 10, even less, countries on the map that the British did not colonize and or invade. And yet the superiority complex, because they're just the little nation that could, the little nation that beat Hitler. Yeah, they starved millions of people in India to fund that war. Millions of Indian people died. And then after World War II ended, we have the partition, in which millions more, thousands, hundreds, displaced from their homes, murdered, sectarian violence, because of the hundreds of years of subjugation of those nations by Britain. But some chick on the street with a tan